Hey guys, happy Friday. So I just wanted to do kind of a quick follow-up to yesterday's video where I was talking about like what your role is as president, and that you're not the decider-in-chief, but you're the delegator-in-chief. And I was also talking about like how to deal with people who are not getting along in your PTA, and not just general members, but like the actual officers, people who can impact how the organization was really functioning or dysfunctioning, right? So there, in the comments, Heather actually commented or asked, what do you do if you've delegated responsibility after responsibility to a board member and they just aren't doing their job? We can't fire volunteers. And so I already replied to her in the comments like, yeah, you totally can fire volunteers. You absolutely can. And sometimes it's the best thing that can happen for your group. But this is not something to be taken lightly. You're not going to be adding to your fan base. Like, people are going to be talking smack about you. You just have to be prepared for that. But that kind of comes with the duty and responsibility of being the leader of any group, especially a PTA or a PTO, when people get their panties in a wad. Like, it seems like super easily. Like, people need to take a chill pill, because half of this stuff that we deal with, it's not going to matter in 10 or 20 years. Like, no one's even going to remember. It's not even going to be on your radar. So, like, why are people, like, going bonkers about it now? I do not know. It drives me nuts. But anyway, that's always, like, the frame that I use to decide, like, how upset do I need to be about something? Like, is this really going to impact me in the future? Like, beyond a couple weeks, beyond this school year. You know, when you start getting into like the long-term things, then yeah, that's stuff to get upset about. But this little stuff usually, not, just life is too short. So, yeah, but the how you fire a volunteer can dramatically impact your organization. So there's a wrong way to do it, and then there's a right way to do it. So I bet you already know the wrong way to do it, and that's just to go call somebody up or even send them an email and go, you're not doing your job, bye-bye. Like, we no longer need your help. No, that's the absolute wrong way to do it, because you're dealing with somebody who they probably actually wanted to serve in this capacity. They wanted to be helpful, and for whatever reason, like, life is just not allowing them to do that. So you need to be kind. Again, don't I talk about being kind like all the time, about how you need to be kind and considerate and think about others, because we have no idea what's going on in people's lives. A lot of people put their best foot forward, you know, but you may not know that their husband was just laid off and they have no idea how they're going to pay their mortgage. And so, yeah, PTA stuff, it was important before. They had time to devote to that, you know, last week when their husband was gainfully employed and they didn't have money problems to worry about. But now, on the like whole hierarchy of issues that they want to deal with and they feel are important, PTO isn't cutting it anymore. And so you really need to be cognizant of that and just be like uber considerate of what be going on. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that's an excuse. Like, it's not an excuse, but you really have to have a conversation with the person. So I'm going to drop a couple of my favorite quotes with you, because these are things that I use often and they've served me well. But if someone has stepped up to the plate and tasks have been delegated to them, but they haven't been following through, then you really need to believe them when they show you who they are, right? And not, so the quote from Maya Angelou is, you know, believe people when they show you who they are. So they might say one thing. They might say, hey, yeah, I can totally head up that fundraiser. But then everything, you know, you're having to constantly following up with them to be seeing where they are with things. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's next on my list. It's next on my list. Or they never quite do it, and the fall event turns into a spring event. Then you really just need to believe them that they're saying one thing, but they're demonstrating that they're not capable of fulfilling the duties of the job, and therefore are not good, not a good fit for that role. It's nothing personal. Like I said, everybody's got different stuff going on, so you just have to be mindful of that. So I guess for Heather, you need to, yeah, they've shown you that they're not responsible enough to be a leader. So is there still a role for them in your PTO? Absolutely. Is it a leadership position? That no, because leaders have, there's a higher set of expectation for all leaders in any organization, and PTA, PTO stuff, especially because small network of volunteers, right? So it can be even more impactful or more detrimental to the group rather when somebody doesn't follow through with something. So, okay, when someone's not doing their job, there are two paths, and I'm only going to talk about them. I'm only going to talk about one of them today. And so there's one, if you feel like someone's not doing their job and like it is a treasure and you feel like they're stealing from the group. Oh, Heather, sweet. We'll walk you through this. I'm gonna give you like words to use coming up here soon. So I'm glad you like that reaffirmation. Okay, if someone is stealing from I lost my train of thought. If someone is stealing, or you have a very strong suspicion that they are stealing from your group, you need to shut them down immediately. You need to cut off access to the finances or the resources of the group immediately, right? But this is not what we're talking about today. Today we're just talking about people that are kind of slackers, all right? For whatever reason, that sounds judgmental, but you know what I mean. Like just the people that are not pulling their weight, are not doing what they said they would. So in that case, and you just really have to have a conversation with them. And another one of my favorite quotes of all time is from Judge Marilyn Milian. It's my guilty pleasure. I watched The People's Court. Yes, I am a recovering attorney, so I've watched that show forever. But one of her favorite sayings is, say it, forget it, write it, regret it. And that's so true, because written words can really come back to bite you. And now if you say something and it's recorded, of course, it can come back to bite you, but it's just not as bad. And the thing about this interpersonal stuff that you have with a difficult officer or a difficult committee chair who is not pulling their weight, like that conversation could be really tricky. And so you want to have it verbally. And I highly, highly, highly recommend just having it on the phone, because it's like super uncomfortable to call somebody on their crap in person. So yeah, you want to call them up, and it might even behoove you to schedule a time with them, like send them a message and be like, hey, I want to catch up and talk. Like, when's a good time for you? They probably already have a good idea that they're going to get called on their crap, and so they might avoid having the conversation with you. And if you feel that's the case, or if you've tried to schedule a conversation with them before, then don't give them the heads up. Just flat out call them. And then when you have the conversation with them, just ask them what's going on. Maybe they need a helper. Maybe they're just really unsure. Or maybe it's what I said before, like life has changed and this is just not a priority for them anymore. So then you just need to be like, look, I just need to have like an honest conversation with you about this. I want to know where you're at. Where are you feeling with this? Because, there was an opportunity for you to step up when planning the trunk or treat, and for whatever reason that didn't happen, and it turned out fine in the end because Susie stepped in for you. But I just, I want to take some time to figure out like what's going on with you and how I can help. If you take that position of understanding, compassion, and just kind of being there for them, they're not going to become an instant hater and start spewing lies about you on, to friends just to make themselves look better. Like, well, they could, because they could legit be a little crazy, which there's a lot of people out there who are either undiagnosed and unmedicated, or undiagnosed or unmedicated. So that's always a possibility, but you're going to lessen the chances a lot if you just come at it from this angle, just carrying compassion. Hey, I was so excited when, I had the opportunity to get to know you better by working with you on this project or on the board or whatever. And it things have been, I guess, not what I felt they were going to be like. And I just wanted to have a conversation with you about that. So that's kind of the tone I would take. And I think that'll be like super, super helpful. And then when it comes time, you just need to say, look, I just feel like this isn't a good fit for you right now. And so I'm wondering if we could look at another way for you to help in the PTO. And most reasonable people will kind of catch what you are putting down right there and will be like, you know what, you're right. And, they might make an excuse and you just have to go, whatever. Not to them. You say that to yourself and go, yeah, that sounds likely. Because a lot of people will, when called on their crap, will make these like lame excuses. In addition to doing all this PTO volunteering, I also am an advisor to a sorority. So if you think trying to get like for real 30 and 40-year-olds to do stuff and have dependability and accountability, boy, I see a lot of excuses with my 20-somethings. They are a piece of work. And so a lot of, I use it's the same skill set because it's all people and they're all relationships, because it's not like you can just fire this volunteer and then they're out of the office, right? Their kids are still going to be going to school. You don't want them to be exiled from your organization. You just need them to do what they said they were going to. That's really all you want. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It's that they are just not, for whatever reason, right now, not dependable. So, I would just be kind and give people an out and just let them explain and let them have their crappy excuse, because it's going to be crap, because it's not like anybody forces anyone's hand up at meetings to volunteer for things. And also people need to recognize that no is a complete sentence. People need to start saying no to things when they can't handle it, instead of just taking it on and then feeling overwhelmed and then not doing anything. So I think that's all I kind of had sketched out where I wanted to go, because this is a really hard topic. But you should definitely not be afraid to fire someone if they're doing like true hurt to your organization. Like if they're in charge of a big event and you can see that they're not just coming through with what they need to be doing, don't be afraid to step in. But you need to step in first with that conversation and lay the groundwork. And then maybe they just need like a helper. Maybe it doesn't mean that they need to totally leave their role, but that they need some more help, or that the given job is just too much for anyone to do, them or anyone. Because a lot of this stuff is hard because you have PTAs and PTOs who have been doing events for like years, and they're like, well, we've always done it this way. Well, guess what? Things are changing. Like most of the people at the lower elementary school where my son just graduated, not graduated, but like he finished the last grade that they have there, 10 years ago, not all the moms were working, and now almost all the moms are working in addition to all the dads. So it's just hard. So you can't do things like they've always been done. So, and that's maybe an out that you could give to people too, and go, look, maybe we need to look at this role and see how it can be adapted to, so that our volunteers can have success within it. And that's kind, and maybe that's too kind, but I don't know. It's never having fun. It's never a fun conversation to have when you have to call someone on their crap, like ever. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter if it's your kids and you're reaming them. It doesn't. It's never fun, because who likes conflict, really? Like anybody, except for some sadistic people. But anyway, so to wrap it all up, yes, you can fire people. No, you cannot do it apprentice style. That would be bad. You have to approach this like you do everything else in life, with kindness and compassion, and that's how you'll see not a whole host of people just going, jumping ship and going, I didn't sign up for this. So you want to have the conversation in the least dramatic way possible, so that you can preserve that relationship and not make other volunteers mad, because the second you hang up the phone with the person who's not doing their job, they're calling their BFF and being like, you are not going to believe what just happened, because they're going to feel the need to save face. that's probably what's going to happen in most of the situations. I think very few times will you have someone who will be like, yeah, I totally screwed that up, totally screwed the pooch on that one, and I can't believe I did that. Like, very few people will actually act like an adult and say that. So be mindful of these things when you're going forward. Okay, and I want to give one more shout out to the only PTO planner out there that will actually help you delegate tasks successfully to others and help you as a president get a bigger idea of what is going on in your organization. And you can check that out at bit.ly. So it's bit.ly / or / rather, color planner. That's newer in my shop. So go check it out and see how it can work for you. And again, I said this yesterday, but anybody who purchases the planner, that version of the planner, either the color version or the black and white version, I will also be offering a discount on the brand new system that is coming out in January. I'm super excited about that because I've been refining these products to be exactly what people need, and no matter what role in a PTO that they might have, because I realized that this job of being a PTA leader should not be 60 hours a week. Like, you should be able to be a successful volunteer, a successful leader in your organization without monopolizing your time. And so that's the whole reason I've created these products, is because I want to help other people learn from my mistakes and be a more successful and happy volunteer. So go check it out. Again, the little shortcut that you can use to get there is bit.ly / color planner. So go check it out and see how it can work for your group. Okay, so I hope this is super helpful. And again, leave me your comments down below and let's talk more about this. I want to be here to fully help you, even with these sticky situations like this. So have a great weekend, and I'll be back talking to you soon. All right, bye-bye.